I make podcasts that tell stories, and at the start of last year, a guy who I work a lot with, the BBC's Chris Warburton from BBC 5 Live, came to me with this idea and said, man, it's 25 years since GTA started. Next year we gotta do something on this. We gotta do some sort of history as we see it of GTA, because it means so much to so many people. And I had a look at it, I thought, yeah, there's enough here to do a sort of history of the biggest game on the planet, and that's what we tried to do. It's truly one of the deepest experiences you can have in just absorbing yourself in another world for a little while. From the music to the art to the situations to the story, it is quite unique, I think, even within gaming. And so I knew I want to try and do some kind of a story about this masterpiece of a series. We were wondering for the longest time who is going to present this podcast. But then one day I happened to see that Bugzy had a song called San Andreas Mentality, and I thought, this is crazy. What I didn't know back then was just how deeply Bugzy was into the game and how much he felt that it referenced his own life. And that's a story that we tell in the podcast, and one that actually goes quite deep with him, and I'm really glad he's there with us through the podcast. When he was growing up, he had a pretty tough life in and around sort of some gangs in Manchester. He talks a lot about his life around the Bury New Road. What he tells us in the podcast is that the game GTA San Andreas actually felt like real life for him. Like CJ, the main character in GTA San Andreas, he very much saw himself as, empathizing or reflecting the choices and the situations that CJ found himself in. The link to GTA and cityscapes is really, really deep. It sort of talks about what it's like to be a person who's maybe down on their luck, trying to negotiate life in a city, making the choices that they have to make just to get through and survive. When we were making the podcast, one of the things I wanted to do was make the sound of a city. So what we had to do with the script and the sound was try and make it feel like you were in the kind of cityscape that GTA lives in. It's a huge challenge, but I do think it's a real treat for the ears, especially if you've played GTA 3. That was one we really tried to evoke with wind-blowing dusty papers and cans and guns and sirens. So yeah, living in a city and trying to express a city in sound, I think is a lovely thing. We would have loved an interview with the creative minds behind GTA, but part of the GTA story is that those creative minds are incredibly private. Guys who led it from the start are very, very elusive and very hard to get. So I'm not too bummed out that we didn't get them. I would have loved to get them. But I'm hopeful if they hear it, I'm hopeful that they'd hear the effort and the richness that we tried to put in trying to describe this amazing masterpiece of a game.